Hey, you snack. Welcome back. My name is Jack. It's good to see you. We're doing a little something special today. I'm filming this intro with a handheld. Ooh, look at me getting up in the world. It's time to read some Reddit stories, as always, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the tea. This story began a month ago by character ad3076. It's been updated a few times with a recent update just today. Am I the a-hole for being petty to my girlfriend's parents? I already understand I've been petty and most likely the a-hole, but I would still like some advice going forward. I apologize that this will be a wall of text. I am going to try to explain context. I will include a TLDR at the bottom. I, male 25, and my girlfriend, female 26, have been together for about 4.5 years now. Her and I moved in together just over 1 year ago as well. We were going to after her degree, but a falling out with her roommate happened, which led to us moving in together a year early. Our relationship has been fine. We don't argue often. We support each other's separate interests, and overall, living together has been quite hassle-free. The only thing that has caused minor arguments between us is that she hates confrontation. For example, she works as a supervisor part-time, and where she works, the people being hired for her to train are paid more than her. She hasn't gotten a raise of any kind in over a year, which is illegal. She refuses to bring it up to the manager, though, or anyone at all. This is frustrating, especially since she moved into my place. She hasn't been able to afford to put anything forth. I own the place myself, including paying for our car insurance, gas, and pay all of the bills, except we go 50-50 for groceries, and it's been tough for how much I get paid, because it's not a lot, but shouldn't be much longer. Anyways, her family and I have been decently close. They helped me move a couple of years ago. They helped her move in last year, and we visit them for all major holidays and visit decently often since we got together. Her family and I only don't agree on one thing, which is my religion. I am not religious, but they are quite Christian, and my girlfriend is non-practicing, unknowingly to them. So whenever I go over, they are overly the top on everything. That's in my girlfriend's words, not mine. They're over the top on their religion and constantly trying to force me to join them in their practices. And whenever I decline, they say things under their breath like, "Oh, we will fix you," in a half-jokingly manner. But we have never visited long, so it's never been much of an issue. Usually only 2 to 4 hours at a time. They live around 6 hours away from us, in another city. My girlfriend moved to my city around 7 years ago, before we met. This is where I believe, and everyone else, that I am being an a-hole, and the current issue. We stayed at their house for the first time overnight a couple of months ago, and while there for around 6 hours, it was all going well till it got to around nighttime. They told me I should get the couch ready, and I was confused as my girlfriend has a room sizable for the both of us, so I questioned. I thought I'd just sleep with my girlfriend, and they declined, saying that our relationship wasn't at that level in their eyes. Now, I accepted, and did not want to argue, as it's their house and their rules, but I am quite tall. I'm 6'6", and I grew a lot of that when I was young in an incredibly short amount of time, which resulted in a lot of medical back pain and issues for my entire life, and being unable to even do the sports I used to love. So I told them I wouldn't be able to sleep on the couch, sadly, especially since it was barely bigger than a love seat, but would be more than okay purchasing a room at a hotel for myself or myself and my girlfriend. They also lived within a couple of minutes from some hotels, so I'd most likely be able to find a room close by. And they said I was turning it into way too big of a deal and to respect their beliefs, and after back and forth, they eventually said they give up and told me to sleep wherever I wanted, and they were not happy, and went to bed themselves. I was going to purchase a hotel for myself, but my girlfriend got upset at me for attempting to do so I stayed on the couch, which resulted in zero sleep and my back hurting for a couple of days. But I was at least able to watch some good movies. I, nor they, brought it up the next day, and we eventually left. Since then, I've felt quite guilty as my girlfriend said I shouldn't have argued in their house. Now, months later, they were wondering if they could visit us and stay with us. My girlfriend and I agreed, of course, but before they arrived, I let them know that our couch wasn't quite big enough for 2 people, and they were very confused. I told them that they would be sleeping on the couch, and they asked why. I told them that I felt they didn't respect our relationship to their standards, and I followed the rules under their house, so they should follow mine. They argued once again that since they are married, their relationship is more respected than ours. I told them that being married doesn't mean that for me, and if they are coming to my house, they have to follow the rules of such too. They ended up hanging up and texting my girlfriend they would not come over until I would apologize to them, and was in the right mind. This led to my girlfriend and I arguing about this, and she agrees that their relationship is more respectable due to being married, and I told her that marriage isn't what grants me respect for a relationship, it's the foundation it's built on, and how two people treat each other and those around them. So, should I apologize and allow them to sleep in the spare bedroom? My girlfriend believes I am being incredibly childish, petty, and unreasonable, which I definitely agree, I am being petty, but I still just don't feel right allowing them to do whatever they want in my house if they don't respect my relationship with their daughter. They were happy and didn't say anything about us moving in, but feel weird with us sleeping in the same bed at their house, which I found weird but also never brought up. So it's fair to say OP is an a-hole for being petty. Regardless of the reason, that's what they've done. But many comments don't care. They seem more interested in roasting about how useless this girlfriend is. So your girlfriend is living in your home rent-free, doesn't even pay for her own gas or insurance or even part of the utilities, won't stand up for herself at work so she can make a livable wage, and has already been thrown out by her roommate. But she is digging in her heels with you and able to assert herself and be confrontational about her parents dictating how you should live your life and in your house, and feels her parents should also be able to do that? Does she really hate confrontation, or is she just as manipulative as her parents who are on a mission to fix you are? Which is a valid point. She paid her share of bills at the old place with her ex-roommate. Why can she suddenly not afford to put in some percentage now? Other comments though try to think a bit more long-term, I suppose. This is a gotta pick your battles moment couples often talk about with relationships and marriage. Yes, you are being petty about this subject, especially since you have a spare room, in which there is no need to actually sleep on the couch. If you didn't have the spare room and would have been giving up a master bedroom, like your guy's room, to them, yeah, well, that would be easier defended. 100% be the bigger person. Just say sorry and move on. But okay, to scan through some quick question and answers from the OP. 1. What does your girlfriend bring to the relationship? It sounds like she is content to slug away underpaid while you take on the burden of most of the finances. That seems inequitable unless she takes on more of a burden in the home. 2. Regarding sleeping on the couch at their house, I understand it is their house and many religious people do not allow unmarried couples to stay in the room overnight. But then how is it that your girlfriend didn't already know this? She should have discussed it with you in advance. Many couples opt for a hotel room close by, so there isn't any conflict in these situations. Do you really have a medical condition that made it so painful you couldn't bear it? And if so, then it seems your girlfriend could not care less about your comfort. Why was she mad you didn't want to sleep on the couch with a medical condition? And 3, could it be that your girlfriend is hoping the situation, like her parents' position and her agreement with it, will convince you to propose? So first question, does she pay her share? She pays half of our groceries, but that's it. Everything else I pay for. I do the majority of the chores as well, since she is usually studying when I am off work, but I would say we are equal on laundry duties. I do the rest of cleaning, dishes, etc. though. So that's one thing to consider. While she may be not contributing as much financially, she is also in the middle of studying as well. She doesn't have as much freedom to make extra cash and money as OP likely does himself. 2, she never had a serious relationship prior to me, just an on-off relationship in high school. So I assume she never invited anyone to stay over before. It would have been nice to know earlier if possible, since driving over there was incredibly hard on my back. But I did have no idea till that very moment, and I found out later that her older sister and their boyfriend are also told to sleep in different rooms, so they just as well never sleep over. I do really have a medical condition. As a child, I had minor scoliosis, just as my father did, that was fixed non-surgically, but later on, through growing taller at such a rate, has led to a lot of lifelong pain. The rapid growth of my spine led to, or unknowingly at the time to me, very higher risk injury, and I used to play rugby all the time, which led to me being injured and having many issues with stability and pain as I continued to grow. It's not a self-diagnosis, it's been a lifelong of doctor visits, adjustments, etc. She wasn't mad I did not want to sleep on the couch. She was mad that I had already made it too big of a deal for not agreeing and keeping my mouth shut. and if I got a hotel, that I would be making it even bigger of a deal. Does she want me to propose ASAP? Possibly. Her parents got married within 6 months of meeting each other. They firmly believe that we have no reason being together any longer than that if we are not married. They have made a lot of offhand comments about such, but never directly at us. For example, they'd say, "I'm so glad we got married when we did. Waiting any longer would have been stupid," and things like that. But my girlfriend and I agreed that we wouldn't discuss marriage till she finished her degree and was in a more stable job. So, overall, seems this confrontation really just highlighted to OP, thanks to the comments, that there's a lot of issues in their relationship they kind of need to hash out, and that's when we come to the next update, just under a month later. Hey, it's been 20 days, and I sort of forgot about this, but Reddit auto-logged me in and reminded me, and I thought I'd give an update and ask for more advice. So I read the comments, and it helped me realize from outside point of views that I was 110% being a petty a-hole. I already sort of knew that, but hearing people with no connection to us confirm it helped open my eyes. I pulled my girlfriend aside the next day of my post and apologized, admitted I was being childish, petty, an a-hole, and that I wasn't acting my age. I was more like acting a toddler not sharing toys. She agreed and laughed at my analogy, and forgave me as long as I called her parents, which was my next plan anyways. I called her parents. I said roughly the same thing, and they agreed, but did not laugh, and told me that they will find another date in the future and reschedule staying with us, which I told them sounded great, and we hung up. All was well. But the comments and some private messages helped me realize as well that my girlfriend's not taking initiative was something I needed to seriously talk to her about and stop letting go if I planned on marrying her. I thought of how to say everything I wanted to, etc., and a day or two later, I decided to talk to her. I told her how much I love her, the person she is, and brought up many things she brings to our relationship to start things out. I then brought up how, if we are going to work more in a healthy manner as we get more serious and conjoined, things do need to be more equal between us. So I wanted to work on a compromise. I pay for everything except 50-50 groceries. I do the majority of cooking and cleaning, etc., as you all know. Well, she got quite upset at this and was trying to say that she doesn't have value in our relationship. But I tried to reassure her, and the conversation sort of ended there. I stuck my ground though, and 2 days later, I brought it up again once the dust settled, and while the conversation was rocky, we worked on a compromise that she will ask her boss about the raise she deserves, will begin doing more of the cooking and cleaning, not more than before, but more than me. I asked her also if she would talk to her parents about the whole trying to convert me thing, and, well, baby steps, not gonna happen yet. Anyways, I still need advice as well. Since we had that last conversation, I thought things would be better, but she's been cold. She's been only cooking really quick meals, like frozen stuff, mac and cheese, etc. And I tried talking to her about it and that I'd be happy to teach her the stuff I'd make for us, but she always says, if you don't like it, make us stuff you do. Which is fair, but I know she's as good of a cook as me. I tried talking to her if things are stressing her out, she declines. I tried asking if anything's wrong, she declines, etc. She's been cold. Our intimate life took a nosedive from once every 2 days to only twice since my last post. I tried feeding into her love languages. She likes words of affirmation a lot, so I've been complimenting her extra and reassuring her, but she seems uninterested. I even tried asking her if I explained anything badly or said the wrong thing about the conversations above, and she says no. What can I do to make her feel happier? She barely even greets me when I come home now. So the comments aren't any sort of shining light of hope. She's mad and punishing you for trying to make her a partner in your relationship instead of a benefactor. Maybe it's part of her religion or upbringing, but your girlfriend expects you to take care of her completely while putting little to no effort into taking care of herself, let alone you. And this is the strange thing, because OP even says she isn't bad in the kitchen and she 100% knows how to cook just as well, if not better than I. When we first started dating, she actually taught me some things about cooking and how to make her favorite dishes. She also really likes baking, like I do, but now that she's the only one really cooking, it's never actually cooked food, where I would always make everything myself, ask her what she wanted in the future, and get the ingredients for, etc. Also, I do miss the intimacy. When we first started dating, we talked about our love languages, and it's been an important part of our relationship. She likes words of affirmation, and I like physical touch and quality time, and those are the two things she's neglecting now. We used to cuddle on the couch and watch our shows together, and now she sits next to me and scrolls on her phone for half of it. Oh man, that right there is just the red flag of no, stop trying now. She's not giving you anything, man. Some other comments get a bit conspiratorial. This is going to sound harsh, but I feel like she's going to ditch you as soon as she's got her degree. If not before, but this relationship seems doomed. You're currently supporting her near completely, and she'll likely take advantage of that until she can afford to support herself or move back with her parents. Maybe I'm just jaded, but that's the vibe I get. So this inspires OP to bring an update, saying I am currently deciding to do two things as comments have suggested. A, spend a week doing everything for myself, by myself, watch what I please, make just my own food, and finally take the classes I have been waiting for her to agree to, like pottery and baking, and just do my own thing and see how she treats it. My main fear being that she will just see this as petty, and that I'm doing the same thing as I almost did to her parents in my last post. Or B, try and talk to her one more time about all of this, which most likely she won't be receptive to. Tell her how I feel, what I want in a relationship, and needs to change if it wants to work. I obviously fear she will break up with me for that, but if she does, it's probably for the best. Now, naturally, one of these options requires you to not be petty. So, OP naturally decides to go with A, the petty option. I try and give her a slight taste of her medicine and then bring up how I felt. Maybe she will understand better once she sees me doing my own thing. Man, mate, you literally talked about how you grew from this, that being petty is not the right choice, but okay. So, how do you reckon things come about in the update 3 weeks later? Hey everyone, it's been nearly 3 weeks since my last post, and I tried using this account so I'd remember, but I forgot to update. My post gained a bit of traction, and people have been requesting an update, so I felt I should oblige. And I will continue to update if anything else goes on, but I'm not sure after this update anything will be happening. I once again tried to read and reply to as many comments as I could, and I really appreciate everyone's advice. It helped me realize that things need to change, or need to end. The way she has been treating me was not okay, and that I was essentially a doormat. It's hard to tell these things when you're with someone for years, and from my point of view, when you really want it to work. Now, I did as I said in my post update. Some people were suggesting, what if you did what you pleased and let her be her own devices? How would she react? So, that is what I attempted. On Monday, the 21st, I decided to wake up early for work and make my own breakfast. By the time she got up, I was nearly done eating. She questioned why I made my own, and I told her, well, you told me if I didn't like what you made to make something myself. She asked why I hadn't made her some, and I told her she can make her own. We sort of left it at that. Throughout the next couple of days, I watched what I felt like, when I felt like, and I purchased a class to make pottery without even telling her. Stopped asking her if she wanted to do stuff with me, and made all my own meals myself. After the first day, she stopped really asking me anything, and just didn't care I was on my own. It truly felt like I just had a roommate that I shared a bed with. It sucked. A lot. But I was hoping it would show her how I felt. After about a week of doing this, I was at my limit, and couldn't really take it anymore. Neither could she, apparently, since she was starting to make comments again. We were growing more distant, and we started arguing for most of our conversations. On Saturday, I prepared to sit down and talk to her one final time about everything. I woke up early and made my own breakfast, and as soon as she came into the kitchen, she went off on me, yelling at me if I don't love her, if I am cheating on her, how terrible of a boyfriend I've been being, etc. I kind of just sat there and took it. I wasn't even done with my damn breakfast. I sort of ignored her entire crash out on me, and I'm not sure if it calmed her or made her last longer, honestly, but once she was done, I told her we needed to talk, and I'd tell her everything, and I think she thought I was going to admit I cheated or something, since she looked livid. I firstly told her I wasn't cheating and would never. Then I brought up how she made me feel for a long time now, how much she has learnt to expect out of me, and that I truly do love her. And she might love me, but it no longer feels like she cares. How her parents aren't going to convert me, how her not letting me discuss all this with her before was wrong, etc. This dissolved once again into another fight, but it wasn't too bad. Kinda just going back and forth for a while. We calmed down, and I told her it's best she left and we had some space. I felt kinda sick to my stomach doing that. I probably have an issue giving up on things, but whatever. She tries to tell me I'm stupid, and how a decision like that would be horrible for me, and how no one would love me the way I expect to be loved, or treat me the way I think I should be treated, and no woman would want to be with a man she has to nurture like a child. Oh, the audacity. I tried telling her it was just for some space and to not insult me, but she didn't seem to listen, so I repeated to please leave. She asked where would she go. I told her to just go, and if she needs money for a hotel or anything, to let me know. She left, somewhere I guess, and didn't request any money. She texted me a couple of times throughout the night on that Saturday, and I ignored it. Till nighttime, I told her I'd packed all her stuff, and she can come tomorrow, and I turned my phone back on to Do Not Disturb. Most of her messages were just pointless insults anyway. I woke up early on the Sunday and packed things really quickly, like I had to move, and my landlord would be there in 20 minutes. She didn't come until the afternoon, and when she did, she said she was shocked. I actually packed things up, and if I was really serious about being this stupid and throwing it all away, and I said yes. Honestly, I think her just believing we were breaking up right now made it easier. I kinda just rolled with it. I did tell her I want to still talk and see if she can see where it went wrong. This obviously turned into another fight, but I just told her to get her stuff and leave. She stormed out, slammed the door, and left. There was still a couple of things. I couldn't pack everything, and I called a buddy of mine and asked him to stay at mine for the week, and he said sure. She came over the next couple of days. The first day, she tried insulting me again, saying I needed my buddy to keep me safe and stuff. But after that, it was just silent when she came to collect her things. By the time it was last week's end, it was really quiet, around the first or Thursday. My buddy left after she got the last of her things. My house was quiet. I kinda hated it. We weren't really texting, but for some reason, I decided to call her. She picked up. I asked her why things got like this. She said she didn't know and was sorry. She apologized for everything and said she wished she was better, and I said I wish I was too. She asked if she could come home eventually, and I told her I'd think about it. And so I thought about it. I read my posts again, I read all your comments again, and I decided no. So I called her up and told her that it's best we end this for good. All she said was, "Are you serious?" I said yes, and immediately hung up. She blew up my phone with a ton of calls and texts, but I put it on Do Not Disturb. Last Saturday, her parents even texted me that I was horrible and a bunch of other things. Since then, it's been quiet for the last week. I don't know who she's staying with, where she went, who she came with to collect her stuff, or who was driving her. I have tried not to think about it. I still have a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm sorry I can't give them to y'all. So yeah, it's been officially like almost a week without contact. There was probably times she could have caught me and convinced me to stay, but she kind of ended it herself in my mind. So with that slight conclusion for now, a lot of comments actually were critiquing OP. I feel like you got a lot of terrible advice here, and it doesn't help that you are extremely petty, and you come across as immature, and it feels like there is so much stubbornness at play here. I don't think you should have played your give her a taste of her medicine game for a whole week. That essentially did more harm than good. I think you both failed each other to see that a relationship is a partnership. There are sacrifices, there are give and take, and there will be rough times ahead, but to work through them as a team. I think you're both very stubborn and immature, and it ending was probably for the best. But I also feel like there were so many other ways this situation could have been navigated or handled. And thing is, OP agrees. I probably shouldn't have done that, and I sort of regret it, but too late now. I do fully agree I am immature, and extremely petty, and childish primarily in the sense of not really being able to decide what to do on my own. I very often look back on things and wish I did things better, and hindsight being 2020. Others, though, are somewhat supportive still to OP. The ironic thing is, she'll finally ask for that raise now, because she now can't afford not to. I'm not entirely clear, though, as to why you broke up. I think it's because she wasn't contributing equitably to the relationship, neither financially or effort-wise, as in meal prep and such. Living with an imbalance of effort and responsibilities definitely gets old. I'm sure we're all curious to know how she justified the imbalances from her point of view. OP responding, honestly, the whole situation just seems messy. It all started because she was upset I didn't want to sleep on the couch, and it became a saga of situations getting worse and worse. I think her and I probably had a lot of things we disliked about the relationship that we were not working on or talking about properly, and this was kind of the final straw that led to it ending. I too am curious with how she justified it, especially looking back on it, but I really got used to it over time and kind of stopped thinking about it while in the relationship. Others saying, you dodged a massive bullet, I'm glad she's gone, now block her parents, and any of her friends on your phone and social media. Change your locks too. But unfortunately, this is where a bit of a problem arises now for OP. First saying, I have checked my place 100 times in case there's anything left over of hers here, just so she can't claim there is anything of hers still here. I am very curious who she is staying with or helped her get her stuff, because I probably want to stop being friends with them. Thing is, we have a lot of mutual friends and not a lot of strictly her friends or my friends, which may complicate things when more people begin learning we broke up or are broken up now. Ah yes, it's the guy she told you not to worry about. Well, that's what brings us to the newest update that was just a day ago. Hey, it's been a couple days since my last post. People have been requesting I keep them updated to my dumb little drama, and this sort of has turned into a diary for me at this point. I found some answers to one of the questions that people and I have been wondering, and a bit of a mini update that I will turn into long tangents as per usual. I have been trying to learn Reddit formatting so my tangents aren't as bad to read. So the primary one being, who has she been staying with, driving with, and collecting her stuff with? Well, turns out it is a somewhat mutual friend of ours, who she knew prior to us dating from school. I know he lives alone, but I only ever really hung out with him maybe 10 times total since meeting him multiple years ago, and all at group stuff. No, I haven't contacted him, and I don't plan on it. I found out through a different guy who is from that original friend group that is much closer to us and me now, as when he visited him, he was confused why she was staying there. I don't know or think they are anything more than friends, but I am still very confused why he, of all people, is who she's staying with. He actually lives farther from her work and uni than I do, and neither one of us, to my knowledge, were that close to him. But so the update is, I signed up for therapy, which will begin in a week and a half. I blocked her and her parents after she tried calling me again about 3 days ago. No idea what she was going to say, but the second I saw the phone ring from her, I cancelled and blocked. Next, it turns out she has been telling some of our mutuals that are closer to her that we broke up because I was incredibly mean to her and her family, and trying to make her do everything in the relationship, that our friend she's staying with now helped her escape me. I found this out since I was talking casually to one of them online. She asked how I was doing. I told her I was doing fine, just focusing on myself and trying to become a better person. And she responded, "That's good, I would really hope so." Which led to the conversation of what I now know. She heard me out, but I understood she really wasn't believing me, so I just left it. Finally, I was invited a couple of days ago to a birthday or house party / get-together this coming Saturday, which I know she's friends with too. I have no idea if she's going, but I am tempted not to go if I find out she is. But I really like the dude. No idea what I should be doing in regards to that, or her telling people how we ended. So comments to this are kinda mad that OP's rolling over to the ex's claims. Honestly, my advice is just go to the party, but don't even acknowledge her, or even care. Just act friendly and normal to everyone if she's there. If she creates a scene, which I am betting she will, then everyone will know she was the problem and not you. For the people that believe you are the problem, if they think that, you can tell them the truth. But it's truly up to them who they believe, sadly, and we can't change that. My favorite quote is, "You can't change what people do or say, but you can always change how you react to them." Which I tell myself a lot, and maybe you should keep that in mind with what's going on. Others argue I would have sent this entire thread to that friend to show her it's real, but each to their own. Glad you're doing better, mate. Better yet, no, he should send all the texts and voicemails where she is insulting him to the friend group. But overall, her willingness to lie about the dissolution of this relationship is all you need to know about her as a person. You may think you knew her, but she showed she's immature. She's playing a game of kiss but don't tell, where she's engaging in a non-Christian lifestyle, hoping vaguely to mature into that with marriage or some bullcrap. But she expects you to be subordinate to that whim. All of this while she was basically living rent-free in your home. Yeah, I kind of have to agree with some of these comments that are saying to just sort of go scorched earth with her claims. I feel, if anything, you have a social responsibility to call her out on her BS. Maybe don't walk in with an entire PowerPoint presentation at the ready at this party, but be blunt with the conversation when anyone has one with you. Like, hey, I'm sure you heard things from my ex and maybe her friends. I can comfortably prove how that is not at all the case, but of course only show this evidence you have to people who are genuinely wanting to be a part of the drama. Most of the time in cases like these, people aren't entirely on the side of the person who makes these sort of claims. They're just expressing support to them because, well, that person is in front of them at the moment. If any of these people were truly your friends, I feel like they'd be able to see through the accusations your ex has been making that you were so controlling and trying to make her do everything for you. But what do you think, though? Let me know down in the comments. Would that not just be him resorting back to his pettiness that got him into this mess in the first place? On to this next story. I just found out my boyfriend of 4 years has been cheating on me for the past year and a half, and you will never guess the ending. Hi everyone, I just want to start by saying I am new to Reddit and I am a first-time poster, but not new to Too Hot Takes. Also, I don't really need advice on this situation, it's just so batshit crazy that I think it would make for good entertainment. It's a long one though, so crack a crisp cherry coke, grab a snack, and enjoy the show. Some background that I promise is actually important. I, currently 24 female, but 20 at the time, was transferred to a different university from community college in 2021. I went to a university about 4 hours away and lived in an apartment off campus with no roommates. I basically knew nobody. I met a boy, currently 26 but 23 at the time, who had also just transferred in. He was an athlete with 2 extra years of eligibility and needed a new university to play his sport. Since we were both working towards the same degree, we had the majority of our classes together, and we took interest in each other immediately. We were both into Marvel and sports. A couple of months after meeting and being friends, we decided to be officially together, and were together until about December 2022, when he graduated and moved back to his home state, 16 hours away. We had no interest at the time in trying the distance, but as you probably guessed, we decided that we wanted to be in each other's lives and started fully dating again July 2023, doing long distance. We made it work by constant calls and FaceTimes. We decided in March 2024 to take a break because we were both moving to new places and wanted some time to settle in. We spent the majority of summer and fall talking on and off, and calling as much as we could, but not officially together or anything. Then, in November or December, he called me up, told me he was tired of doing long distance, and that he wanted to move to the state I lived in so we could get married and start our lives together. After he told me that, I just assumed we were together because who the hell says that for schmitz and giggles, you know? And we did all our normal long-distance things up until last week. Alright, now for the real reason you're still here, the tea. Now, we are in present day, so 24 and 26 years old. Last week, he told me he was going to be busy with work and probably couldn't talk a whole lot. He's a coach, and spring is busy for the sport he coaches, so I was chill about it. But then, we went day after day with no talking, and that's not normal for us. So on Sunday, I text him, and my text doesn't go through. And immediately I know I need to go check his Facebook status, and lo and behold, it says, in a relationship since January 2024. I swear in that moment I almost crapped my pants because we don't have an official date. I call my best friend, who did some sleuthing, and he has another girlfriend in the state he lives in, because we don't live in the same state. I'm so mad I am seeing red. But then I'm like, I have to get in contact with this other girl. I try to message her on Instagram, but I can't, so I do it on Facebook. I gather all my receipts and best apologies and send it her way. But then I remember Facebook Messenger is not "Hey girly" message friendly because of the request and spam. So, because I'm a girl's girl and have to tell her, I find one of her tagged friends and message her to see if she can get the other girlfriend to see my messages. And this response may be the craziest thing about this whole situation. The other girlfriend finally does see it, and she proceeds to tell me she already knew who I was and to not message any of her friends again. Flabbergasted, I reply and apologize for reaching out to a friend. I didn't want to, I just wanted to make sure she knew, and then assured her that if I knew about her, I would have ended things a long time ago, and he wouldn't be contacting me again. Then, in summary, this girl tells me that she blocked me on his phone, and that our whole 4 years of us being together in one way or another meant nothing to him, and he didn't mean anything that he ever said to me. I, at that point, decided that the girl's girl card was revoked. Like, I know she's in denial, but he and I were boyfriend and girlfriend when they first got together, and like for 2 years before that. As politely as I could manage, I told her that wasn't true. He's met my family, he asked me to apply to jobs in his state last summer while they were together, and that some of it could have definitely been lies, but not everything was. When I saw she read it, I blocked them both on everything, and now I am officially out of that situation. So, yes, that has been the last few days of my life. I am working through it as best as I can with lots of Taylor Swift music therapy. It turns out, screaming "the smallest man who ever lived" and "the black dog" can really bring a girl peace. If you made it to the end, I love you, and I hope you have a magical day. So naturally, a lot of support in the comments, so nothing really important to read there, so we'll go straight to the update that was about a day or two later. Hey everyone, I never intended to make an update just because I'm pretty done with the situation, but I felt like this was some good information to share. First things first, I want to take a moment to thank all of you for all of the kind words. I wasn't sure what posting on Reddit would be like, but I'm glad I did. It really made me feel seen, and to know I wasn't the only one who thought this was all crazy. Now, for the update. I haven't spoken to him or the other girl since this all went down. I really have no plans to speak to either of them ever again. But tonight, I was telling my best friend what happened. I knew she would be in town tonight, and I wanted to tell her in person, and she wanted to see what the other girl looked like. So, we looked her up on social media, and she took down all of their pictures and changed her status to single. I will not be reaching out to her again, but I am very glad that she got herself out of this situation. Everyone handles it differently, and I harbor no hate for her. I'm glad we are both free. Now that I know they are broken up and she's out, I finally feel like I have some real closure. So yes, turns out despite the, aggressive retaliation from this other girl, within a few days of really absorbing the situation, she actually became a girl's girl. Comments celebrating saying, "Oh girl, she was definitely a side piece who got too bold. He was keeping her around for convenience, but once she blocked you and changed his status, he freaked out and got rid of her. Be careful and aware as you can be. I suspect you will soon get a surprise visit from your ex." And turns out this is actually a very mutual theory in the comments. I feel you may be getting a visit from your ex. I think she may have been the convenient Jenny on the spot piece. I bet he has a job in your state and he is moving. Good luck. I suppose that is a valid theory to make here. I mean, this guy clearly got with this woman while they were still dating. What was he even thinking would happen here? Surely, if he was on his own social media, he would notice that she says that they're in a relationship. That would be on his profile as well. It's not exactly something you can just hide. As far as I'm aware. Look, you can probably just do some privacy setting, which, if anything, makes it even more stupid of this cheating boyfriend's part. I don't know, gang, it's just astounding what this guy's mental gymnastics were as to him thinking he could get away with this. Because if he's planning to invite his, the OP to come to his state to live with him, does he think they're never going to bump into each other? Does he think that this woman he'll eventually dump because his other long-term girlfriend is finally coming to live with him, what, she's just going to be like, cheerio, all good now, you want to be with the person you've been dating seriously this entire time behind my back? Like cheaters, people? How does the brain work for them? Have you ever cheated yourself? Or do you know someone who's cheated? Were you able to get it out of them? Like, what was their thought process? Let me know your thoughts down below. With that said, I think we'll end today's video there. It's gone for quite a while now. Bit of a double up because I seem to have had a lot more time this afternoon compared to my other days of the week. I very much appreciate you for giving me your time today. As always, if you made it this far, then leaving a like and little comments of any of your thoughts down below, very much appreciated. Subscribing if you haven't already. Feel like it's been ages since I've made this sort of request on these videos. But nonetheless, I hope you have a splendid, spectacular rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever is going on in your time zone right now. Until next time, you be good. I love your face so much. Kisses. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.